tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
Good afternoon, constellations of stars, especially to our senior high school learners who are with us in our FB Live.
Welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. We are still live in Dipid Tayo Tanggob and Astral Academy FB page.
I am Shermay S. Epong from Tanggob City National High School.
And I am Siti Badria Dato Dakula, also from Tanggob City National High School.
And we are your teacher facilitators today. May hapon, Ma'am Bads.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Sherry. Today is February 9, 2022. We will be discussing two subjects this afternoon. The first subject is Discipline and Ideas in Applied Social Sciences.
And the second subject is Community Engagement, Solidarity, and Citizenship.
Okay, so for Discipline and Ideas in Applied Social Sciences, Week 1 competencies clarify the relationships and differences between social sciences and applied sciences.
Okay, yes ma'am. No? So, maghisgot dahil taani ma'am no, kung unsay kalahian between social sciences no, and applied sciences. So, with that, learners, stay tuned and prepare your self-learning materials because we are going to discuss our first subject this afternoon after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back, still in Astral Academy Cyber School. Okay, Ma'am Sherry. So, as I've said earlier, about our competency, it is to clarify the relationships and differences between social sciences and applied sciences.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am Bads, no, for introducing the competency, no, for this week. So, Ma'am Bads, I'm sure at the end of our discussion, no, of course, our students are expected, no, to clarify, no, to clarify the relationships between social sciences and applied sciences.
Okay, Ma'am Sherry. So for now, let us discuss first what is social sciences. Okay, so for the definition of social sciences, it is a vast field of scientific studies that investigate human societies and the different forces that work within them. These diverse fields examine how people interact and develop culture.
Yes, yes, ma'am. No, so that is for social sciences.
Sciences.
So, to better understand social sciences, ma'am, actually there are branches. No, nasa yung mga branches. So, we have first economics. So, sa many economics? Economics is the studies or a study that the allocations of scarce resources, no, and the production and exchange of goods and services in the society. So that is economics. It has something to do with the allocation, no, yung mga resources natin, no. And then anthropology, it has something to do with the study, no, study of humans and of course their culture in the past and present time. That is anthropology. So another branch of social science, ma'am, is history. Okay? So history is the systematic study of human past events. So yung past events in order to understand the meaning, the dynamics, and of course, the relationship of the causes and effects of events in the development of society. So that is history. And then aside from that, ma'am, another branch is political science. So political science has something to do with the study of human behavior in relation to political system. Now, not just political system, but also government, laws, and international relation. And that is the focus of political science, ma'am.
Okay, so we also have the one of the branches of the social science is psychology. Psychology, it studies how the human minds work in consonance with the body to produce thoughts that lead to individual actions. Okay, so it studies the human minds. Okay, so another one, we have the sociology. So sociology, systematic study of people's behavior in groups. It is derived from the Latin word socio, which means people together, and Greek word logos, which means the study of science. Okay, yes. And then another one is we have number 7, which is geography. So geography is a study of interaction between people and their environments. It was derived from the Greek words geo, meaning earth, and graphos, meaning charting. Okay, so that is geography. Okay, so another one, we have demography. So demography is the scientific study of human population across time. Okay.
So those are the branches no, ng social sciences. So since we're done with the social sciences, ma'am, and its branches, so let us proceed to applied social science since yung subject natin has something to do with applied social sciences.
Yes, so okay, Ma'am Sherry. So applied social sciences was introduced as a reaction to the highly segmented and compartmentalized division of the social science disciplines that dominated Western research, training during the late 1990s and until the end of the 20th century. Okay, it is also interacted science cutting across the transcending various social science disciplines in addressing a wide range of issues in contemporary, innovative, and dynamic way. So applied social scientist can use his or her training in the different real life work setting. Okay, so that is
The
applied social sciences.
no? So to better understand the applied social sciences, there are 3 disciplines, ma'am, no?
Yes.
So the first one is counseling. Okay. So unsa man ning counseling? Counseling is the process of guiding a person during a stage of life when reassessments of or decisions have to be made about himself or herself and her life course. So, kinahanglan siya mo undergo o gitawag na tong counseling. Another discipline is social work, no? So, social work is associated with government welfare and social programs, no? Specifically, makita ni nato sila sa DSWD. So, aimed at achieving social justice, fairness, and of course, attainment of social equilibrium. So, ang social work is another professional activity ni siya sa applied social science. So, another discipline is communication. So, communication is one of the fields, no, ng applied sciences wherein it provides adequate training for careers in the communication industry, no? So, example diyan is yung field ng mass media or sa TV, sa radio, or sa mga
Yung mga
newspaper.
journalist natin.
Yes, ma'am. So, those are the 3 disciplines in the applied social sciences.
Okay, Ma'am Sherry. So based on our discussion, Ma'am Sherry, the difference between social science and applied social sciences are applied social science focus on the use of application. So when I say applied social sciences, it talks about application. Yes, and then when I say social sciences, those are the theories. Yes. So social sciences are the theories, wherein the applied social sciences are the application. That's why kung makita ng ating mga students, andyan si counseling, which is tao yung dyan, no, mga guidance counselor.
Yes.
Social work, isa rin yung profession na and then andoon din si yung
Yes,
communication,
communication.
which is mga journalist ang di ba?
Yes,
Involved. Okay, so
Okay, so that is, ma'am, no, the difference, no?
between social sciences and
Applied
applied social.
sci-
So actually, it is related to each, di ba? Parang
Yes.
prerequisite man din yung
Yung
DISS
DISS to
Yes,
DIAS,
continuation
no?
sa DIAS.
Yes, because the previous semester we had the discipline and ideas in the social sciences.
Yes.
And for this semester, of course, we have the discipline and ideas in the applied. So
Doon
this
sa
is now
applied.
the
Application.
application ng social science.
Sciences.
Okay, so that's for the differences, no, and differences between social science and applied. So I'm sure, of course, Ma'am Bads, no, since our competency has something to do with
Clarify the differences.
Yes.
Yes.
So of course, our students, no, based sa or kindly take your SLMs, no, meron kayong activity dyan wherein meron kayong need na sagutin, no? Kailangan
yes.
sagutin.
They are going to differentiate the two.
Yes.
Yes. So mayroon tayong dyan, Ma'am Sherry. So when I say applied science, it is problem solving.
Okay.
Yes, kasi it's application naman. So social science is a theory proven. Kaya andyan naman yung mga na-discuss natin sa una about mga
Different
yes,
branches ng social
sciences.
sciences.
Okay.
Okay, so that is for the first week, no, ng DIAS natin.
Okay.
So I hope our learners, no, alam na nila kung paano mag-clarify at pwede na silang mag-clarify, no, the clarification of the relationships and the differences, no, between social sciences and applied sciences.
Okay, so I hope our learners have learned a lot with our discussion with the subject DIAS.
Yes.
Okay, so stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to
And we are back, still in Astral Academy Cyber School. We are still live in DepEd Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy FB page and YouTube channel. So yes, ma'am, no? So since we're done with our first subject, so we will proceed to our next subject, which is of course community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship. So again, learners, welcome to the first week, no, first lesson for this subject, community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship. For the week's competency, or for this week's competency is explain the importance of studying community dynamics and community action in relation to applied social sciences and the learner's future career options. So that is our competency.
Okay, Ma'am Sherry. So, the study of community entails us to understand our very own community life. It gives us the idea on how to perceive reality of becoming involved in the day-to-day process, which is socialization. So, that is the study of community.
Okay,
Yes.
exactly, ma'am. No, so that is why, no, learners, no, it is very important, no, or it is one of the most important thing na part natin na dapat mag-study tayo ng community. The community dynamics, yung community actions in relation, of course, to applied social sciences. And at the same time also, ma'am, yung learners' future career natin.
Yes.
Especially to our learners, senior high
Humanities.
school. Yes.
Humanities and
Yung-
social sciences.
Yes, learners. And it is also an advantage, no, sa ating mga senior high school learners for them para makaprepare sila sa kanilang future. No? So ito yung competency natin. Okay?
Yes, okay. So I would like to remind our senior high school learners, especially humanities and social sciences strand, that for this week, you need to answer the activity sheets in your SLM. So
Yes.
please listen attentively for our discussion this afternoon.
Okay, yes ma'am, no. So since our learners, ma'am, no, alam na nila yung target competency natin, which is of course the importance of studying community dynamics and community actions. So let's proceed to deepen, no, our learners' understanding about the community we live in. And why is it important, no? Bakit kaya importante to study the community dynamics, no? Kung baga yung changes and community action, nandito na yung engagement in relation to applied sciences and of course the learner's future career. So let us start with this question, ma'am, no?
Okay.
So what is community, no? And why is there a need in studying this or in the studying community?
Okay, to answer that question, Ma'am Sherry, is individuals having significant interaction within the specified area becomes one of the contributory factors in forming community.
Yes.
The word community was derived from the Latin word communes, which means common or shared. Okay, so that is why community. So pag sinabing community,
Merong mga tao.
may mga tao ang tinutukoy dyan.
Yes.
Yes, our day-to-day life, kada adlaw sa atong lives bitaw
Yes,
na akadira diha ka sa community. So you should know the importance. Why do you need to study about community?
Yes.
Why do we need to learn the importance of community dynamics?
Yes. So, to define it further, ma'am, no? A community is a group of people. Tayo, no?
Yes.
Who share something in common. Okay? So, there is now something in common. Kaya nga, ika nga sa etymology ng word na community, communis, meaning shared.
Shared.
Yes. Common.
And common.
Yes.
Yes.
So, you can define a community by the shared attributes, no, of the people in it, and or by the strength of the connections among them. So ika nga nila yung shared attributes, yung characters, yung traits
Yes.
na pwede nating magiging identification ng isang tao ay belong sa isang komunidad.
community,
Okay.
yes.
So you need a bunch of people who are alike in some way, no, may pagkakapareho, who feel some sense of belonging or interpersonal connection. Kagaya natin, a community ng mga guro, no?
Yes.
We have these similarities or shared or common attributes.
Yes. Okay. So in addition to that, Ma'am Sherry, a community is a social unit, a group of living things, of course, with commonalities such as norms. We also have the religion, values, customs, or identity. Yes, so yan yung sa community natin. So communities may share a sense of place situated in given geographical area. Like for example, our country.
Yes, Philippines.
Yes, Philippines. And then we also have a village
Yes.
or a town or neighborhood.
Yes.
Pareha na mo. For example, Marawi City, of course, the people of Marawi they are Maranao. So
Yes.
they shared something in common, characteristics, traits, na ganyan.
Yes.
So andyan yan, of course. And so it is also the virtual space through communication platforms.
Yes, no?
Yes.
So virtual space
Virtual
pwede
space.
yung sa social media po.
Yes, of course. Mayroon ding community dyan.
Yes, ma'am.
Di ba?
No, yes.
Sa social media. Hindi lang siya sa
Sa physical or geographical.
Yes, mayroon ding virtual community. Yes.
Okay po. So, actually, ma'am, no, the mores, the values, and identities is a commonality, no,
Yes.
that form culture. So, hence the interest of social sciences focused on the study of community. So, ito yung focus talaga ng study ng communities, yung tinatawag natin, or yung interest ng social science, kung baga. So, there are, of course, importance, no? Kaya nga sa ating competency, what are or the importance of studying community.
Yes.
So we have importance of studying community. First, the first importance is it motivates people to work together. Ika nga nila, you belong to a group.
This group.
You have to
Yes.
be you have to work, no,
with them. Kailangan
And-
makibagay.
Yes, no?
Yes.
So people feel a sense of community
Yes.
and recognize the benefits of their involvement kasi you belong to that,
that
group
community,
or to
yes.
that community. So aside from that, it encourages social, religious, or traditional obligations for mutual help, no? So meron tayong mga obligasyon sa isang community, sa
Yes.
isang grupo that of course, hindi naman ika nga na obligasyon talaga natin, but then again, we have this mutual agreement to help.
Just like, Ma'am Sherry, di ba, pag transfer ko sa Tanggov, of course, we have that kanang sa plaza.
Yes, mga activities natin sa
So,
LGU.
of course, I have to join.
Yes.
Kahit na hindi sa religion ko, since andito ako sa community na to. So I need to be
You
part of
adapt,
it. Yes, I need
yes.
to adapt na hindi naman ako kailangan magsimba.
Yes.
Yes, of course. We also have another importance of studying community, which is people need to see the genuine opportunity to better their own lives and for the community.
Yes.
Of course, genuine opportunities, di ba?
Kasi makikita yan sa community.
Andyan yan. Nandyan ang presence niyan. Okay, so another one is understand policies promoting community participations that values social capital.
Yes.
Yes, so last one is community participation could be understood as the direct involvement of citizenry and affairs of planning, of course, governance, and overall development programs at local or grassroots levels. Okay.
So, yun yung mga importance, ma'am, no? Importance of studying
Yes,
community.
that is why our students need to know, need to learn the
Yes.
importance of studying community dynamics or community.
The action.
Yes.
Okay, so now, let us proceed to community dynamics, ma'am. So,
Okay.
Ma'am Buds, have you noticed, ma'am, some recent changes in our community? No? So, how about you learners? No? Meron ba kayong nakikita na or na-observe na mga changes, no, sa ating community? No? Meron ba kayong mga na-observe na mga sinasabi nila na iba kaysa noon?
Oo,
No?
marami yan.
Yes.
I think yung mga students natin, yung mga learners natin, napapansin din nila.
Yes,
Diba?
ma'am.
Dapat din mapansin nila kasi kailangan nilang maging mapanuri.
Yes.
Diba?
At
Since
mapagmatsyag.
Mapagmatsyag. Kasi andyan sila sa humanities and social sciences.
Yes, yan yung trabaho.
Yes,
ng-
advocate of
Yeah,
change,
yes.
of course. Yes, Ma'am She. So, a lot of changes are happenings in our community right now. Actually, understanding community makes us value the things we have on a daily basis. Social encounter constructs reality and affects some changes within this community dynamics. So,
Okay.
marami tayong mga changes. Even wearing of face mask, that
Yes.
is changes in our community, of course. Social distancing, before you can work together nga magkadikit.
Yes.
Na yun, social
yung
distance.
distance na.
Distance, yan pa lang sa distance, changes na yan.
Yes,
Okay.
no? So yan yung tinatawag nating community dynamics.
Yes.
Dynamics, merong changes.
Yes.
So the changes in the community are brought about by social, no, cultural, and environmental experiences, whether it is positive or negative development that impacts within the community. So people, of course, adapt the changes and it has shaped their way of life. Ika nga nila, yung mga changes na nangyayari ngayon sa community, ma'am, hindi talaga mawawala. Meron din tayong mga negative na changes or it impacts us negatively. At meron ding mga, of course, positive na impact sa ating mga changes sa community.
Oh, okay. So, ma'am, let us also discuss the community action.
Okay.
Since it is part in our competency,
Yes.
right? Okay, so community action is any community that aims to increase the understanding, engagement, and empowerment of communities for the intention of giving services to people. This is not only for us, all of us.
Yes.
Even our students, kailangan mayroon tayong community
The action.
Kasi hindi pwedeng
Passive lang.
Passive lang tayo without action.
Yes.
We need to put into action yung mga sinasabi natin na ganito, ganyan. Kailangan with actions.
Yes.
Okay.
So, kung ang community dynamics has something to do with changes, no? So, ito namang community action, ma'am, to grasp, no, the definition, mayroon tayong 3 key points. No?
Okay.
So, there are 3 key points in grasping the definition, no, to make it more meaningful.
Understandable and
Yes.
meaningful.
So first, based on the meaning of community action, the first is understanding. Okay? So understanding has something to do with awareness, no? Raise an awareness about certain communal issues that needs to be addressed. Ano ba yung mga issues and concern sa ating community na kailangan nating i-address, kailangang aksyonan. So people develop the feeling of involvement. So once they truly comprehend the situation within, so they come together to support advocacies that will overcome community needs and difficulties. So alam natin, say for example, yung problema natin sa environment, no? So ano ang pwedeng gawin ng community, di ba? People develop the feeling of involvement.
Yes.
Once alam na nila ang issue.
Ang
So that
problema.
that is understanding.
Okay, so after understanding, of course, we have the so-called engagement.
Yes.
Diba? Kailangan ma-engagement. So, engagement, once issues are assessed properly and people in the community understand the needs, they work collaboratively to act on it. The main goal of engaging in the community is to improve the partnership and coalitions among the community.
Yes.
So it is important that engagement occurs so that members will be able to involve meaningfully in the activities that they have created, of course. So engagement, we need to be engaged.
Yes, with yung ano ang dapat nating gawin, no? Kasi merong issue.
Oo.
Alam na natin yung
Alam
issue.
na. So, kailangan may engagement after knowing the
Issue.
issues, of course.
Okay. So the third is empowerment, ma'am, no?
Yes.
So ito yung pangatlo, no? Importante na makita natin, no, sa community action. So empowerment. So in empowerment, it enables the people, no, to independently decide, plan out and take action to control the situation they have in the community. So this means merong mga initiatives and decisions come from the internal group organized for the benefit of everyone. So it is also necessary that the community can provide significant networks, yung mga linkages that will genuinely serve the advocacies they have built. So meron tayong may nabuo na mga grupo, mga, say for example, mga NGOs, mga advocacy groups, no?
Yes.
Para mas mabigyan ng pansin, no, yung mga problemang meron sa community.
Okay, so the study of community action is imperative in the field of social sciences and other related disciplines, as it lays on the foundation that individuals and families as basic unit are embedded in the different social structures that shape the behaviors in the system. So having knowledge in community actions makes an individual understand better by being aware in the environment, have meaningful engagement, of
Yes.
course, and they also have to accept the empowerment to create significant impact, of course.
Okay,
So,
so that is for community action, ma'am, no?
Yes.
So let us proceed, of course, to define also, no, applied social sciences, ma'am. So these are actually social science disciplines, no? Yung applied social sciences natin in relation, of course, with our first
previous
subject na,
topics and
yes, ma'am. These are social science disciplines, professions and occupations which seek to use basic social research and theory to improve the daily life of communities, organizations, and persons. So you may ask, of course, especially our senior high school learners, ma'am, no, who are planning to pursue degrees in social sciences, no? So we have some of the social science careers that our learners may practice, no, in their future career. Kasi nga, ika nga nila, ito na yung tinatawag nating application
yes.
ng social science. So we will only introduce some of the future career, no, ng ating mga social sciences learners or yung gustong mag-pursue talaga ng social science. So first, we have human resources officer. Okay, so soon, no, baka sa pag-practice mo ng profession or pag-pursue mo ng college at magiging HRMO or HRO ka or Human Resources Officer, ano bang trabaho mo, okay? So, ang Human Resources Officers natin aims to ensure that organizations have a skilled and efficient workforce. So they are actually involved in the recruitment, ma'am, no? And selection, training and development, as well as grievance and discipline, and provide advice on employment law. So the Human Resources Officer is actually inclined with the acceptance of those mga applicants. Kung gustong mag-apply ng trabaho, sila yung nag-a-assess kung karapat-dapat bang tanggapin at saka meron bang mga qualities na hinahanap yung company na makikita nila sa mga aplikante. Yan yung HRO natin, ma'am.
Okay, so if ever na baka social work naman ang gusto nila,
Yes.
pwedeng-pwede, learners, yes. So if you want to become a social worker someday and to be part of the SWD,
Yes.
social work, being a social worker, it works with people in the community, of course, who need support. Like for example, like the elderly, yung mga
Matatanda.
of
Yes.
course. And we also have the children. And yung mga batang yung mga
Abused,
abuse.
yes.
So baka gusto niyong tulungan.
Or
diba?
abandoned.
Abandoned children. So pwede rin yan. And also, people with disabilities. And with mental health difficulties.
Yes.
So, yan yung isa sa mga trabaho ng ating mga social workers. So, pwede rin kayo dyan mag-pursue someday.
Yes.
Yes.
So aside from being a social worker, meron din tayong pwedeng i-pursue ng ating mga social science learners, ma'am, no. Pwede din silang maging police officers or pwede silang tinatawag nating law enforcement officers, no. So police officers work to make community safer by maintaining law and preventing crime. So, marami tayong mga social science or human students, siguro gusto silang mag-pursue ng career sa law enforcement, mag-take sila ng criminology, no? Pwede din. Kasi that is only or part siya ng social sciences. Or it could be gusto silang maging prison officer or sa ngayon tinatawag natin itong correctional officers. Pwede silang magtrabaho sa BJMP, yung mga jail officers natin.
Okay.
Or pwede din silang magtrabaho under the Bureau of Correction, yung sa mga penitentiary or sa kagaya ng Bilibid Prison. So magiging correctional officer sila doon. And they are responsible, of course, for the maintenance and reformation of those we considered as prisoner or persons deprived of liberty. Yan yung mga prison officer or correctional officers natin, ma'am.
Okay. So, maganda yon, Ma'am Sherry, mga criminologists like you.
Yes.
Yes, Ma'am Sherry.
Yes.
So, if ever, pwede rin sila maging psychologist. Yes, psychologist it is the range of different psychologist rules, but broadly they help clients to improve their psychological well-being.
Yes.
Of course, itong mga psychologists natin, malaki rin yung role nito sa ating community.
Yes po.
Of course. And then baka gusto nyo rin maging tulad namin,
Yeah.
Ma'am Sherry. So you can be a teacher, of course, or lecturer. Educator, ika nga
Yes.
nila. So, variety of opportunities within education from primary schools, elementaries, universities. You can be a lecturer, you can be an
Yes.
instructor, or ano. So, basta, itong humanities and social sciences, marami kayong mga profession na pwede nyong mapuntahan.
Yes.
Yes.
So, in the practice or in the application
Of
of social
sciences.
no? So,
Okay.
again, those are some, no?
Some.
Some lang, no? Some of ready?
Yes, kasi na ano rin natin si Ma'am Sherry, mga journalist natin,
Yes.
journalism. Oo, pwede rin.
Pwede rin, no?
Oo.
In the application of social,
social
science.
science.
So, marami pa talagang mga career, ma'am, na pwedeng i-pursue
Yes.
ng ating mga
Learners.
learners, especially if mag-attend sila ng college education.
Yes.
No? So marami silang pwedeng puntahan. So ito lang yung simula, kumbaga. No?
Yes, Ma'am
Okay, so we will continue our discussions after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School. And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Okay, Ma'am Bads, no? As expected, based on our competency this week, our learners can explain na, no? The importance of studying community dynamics and community action in relation, of course, to applied social sciences. And at the same time also, our learners' future career options. So, alam na nila, ma'am, kung paano
yes.
mag-explain kung bakit kailangan nating mag-study about community and community dynamics and action.
Okay, so yung mga learners natin, alam na rin nila ngayon that community is a group of people who share something in common, and also it is a social unit or a group of living things with commonality such as norms, religion, values, customs, or identity. That is community.
And
Okay.
of course, the importance of studying community is or motivates, no? It motivates people to work together.
Yes.
No? It also encourages our social, religious, or traditional obligations for mutual help. And people see a genuine opportunity to better their own lives and for the community. Aside from that, it understands policies promoting community participation that value social capital. And community participation could be understood as the direct involvement of citizenry, no, in the affairs of planning, governance, and overall development programs at local or grassroots levels. Ito yung mga importance kung bakit tayo nagsa-study ng community.
Okay, so for our learners to know if they can explain the importance of studying our competency this week. So to our senior high school learners, please turn your SLM to answer the activity sheet for this week. So
Yes.
para malaman natin if you can now explain the importance of community.
Okay, yes,
Yes.
ma'am. No, so learners, you read also, no, you read again our SLM, no, the lecture notes there, and explain or answer the activity in your SLM for this week. So, learners, you need to explain the importance, no, of studying community dynamics and community action in relation to applied social sciences and the learner's future career option by, of course, merong essay questions do, no? You answer the essay questions in your SLMs. And also, please do refer, no, to the rubric provided na nasa inyong SLM para sa mga points, okay? So, may mga questions dyan. So, number 1, as a social science student, do you think it is necessary to study community? Why do you think so? So, you have to
Okay.
explain bakit kailangang mag-study ng community.
Okay.
And then number 2, can dynamics in the community affect the lives of the people? No, makaapekto ba yung changes na tinatawag nila? And then you have to explain also your answer. And the community facilitate action for their own community. What is your idea about this? No, so
Okay.
those are the 3 questions.
Yes, so to the senior high school learners, please check the second attendance marker on the top of your screen. Okay.
So, SHS stars, we hope that the lessons we imparted to you this afternoon will be of great help, especially, no, in your understanding, in engagement and empowerment, no, in your community, and of course, in your future career.
Okay, so if you have any questions or comments about the topics, please write it down below. Okay, so this has been your Ma'am Siti Badria Dato Dakula from Tangub City National High School.
And I'm your mom, Sherry May S. Epong, still from Tangub City National High School. Keep safe, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time.
Hello! Welcome back mga grade 7 Mathematics.
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo, ang Tangko. We learn all things, ang saya!
Ready na ba kayo?
Hooray! Now, let us begin.
Last episodes, we were dealing with algebra. This time, let us explore another branch of mathematics called geometry.
Now learners, stay tuned and get prepared for we will tackle our first lesson in geometry. This is all about representing point, line, plane, using concrete and pictorial models.
But first, what is geometry? Geometry is the branch of mathematics that studies the sizes, shapes, position of angles, and dimension of things. It comes from the Greek word geo, which means earth, and metron, which means measurement.
Now let us tackle about point, line, and plane and other important terms of geometry. Point. Point shows an exact location. It has no size, no dimension, and represented by a dot. This is an example of a point. Point is named using capital letters. This illustration is named as point Z or Z. The following are representations of a point using concrete and pictorial models. the tip of the pencil, the tip of the needle, corner of the book, and a location in a map.
Next term is line. Line extends in two opposite directions without end. For example, look at this illustration. This line extends indefinitely. Line contains infinite points. It can be named using 2 points on a line. For example, this line can be named as line EN, line NJ, line JO, line OY, line EJ, line EO, line EY, line NY, line NO, or line JY. Another example. This line can be named as line MN or line NM. Take note that the arrowheads of a line denotes that the line extends in both directions. The following are representations of a line using concrete and pictorial models. String of a guitar, road line, clothesline, edge of the pyramid.
Plane. It is a flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. It has infinite length, width, and no thickness. Here are some of the illustrations of the plane. In naming a plane, we use at least 3 points by a capital letter. This illustration is named as plane MET, or just simply plane X. The following are representations of a plane using concrete and pictorial models. TV screen, the surface of the floor, cell phone screen, and sheet of paper.
Another important terms in geometry are: first, we have collinear points. Collinear points are points that lie on the same line. For example, in this given illustration, points S, R, and U lie on the same line. Thus, points S, R, and U are called collinear points. Next term is non-collinear points. Non-collinear points are points that do not lie on the same line. For example, in the given illustration, points C, U, and H do not lie on the same line. Thus, points C, U, and H are called non-collinear points. Next term is coplanar points. Coplanar points are points that lie on the same plane. For example, in this illustration, points S, R, U, and H lie on the same plane. Thus, points S, R, U, and H are called coplanar points. Lastly is non-coplanar points. Non-coplanar points are points that do not lie on the same plane. For example, in the given illustration, points C and S do not lie on the same plane. Thus, points C and S are called non-coplanar points.
Now, since you already learned about points, line, and planes, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities. Let us read the directions. Activity A. Identify whether the given statement is a point, line, or plane. Write your answer on the space provided. Activity B. Give 3 representations of point, line, and plane using concrete and pictorial models. Examples will serve as your guide.
Take your time in answering the activities.
If you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheet. To end, always remember that the essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated.
But to make complicated things simple.
Now, grade 8 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 8 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone!
Hello! Welcome back mga grade 8 mathematics! Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangko! We learn all things, ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
hooray! Now, let us begin. Learners, do you still remember the things you have learned in geometry on your previous years?
Well, stay tuned and bear with us for our topic today will help you understand more on previously learned topics in geometry. And this is all about mathematical system.
A typical mathematics system has the following 4 parts: the undefined terms, defined terms, axioms or postulate, and theorems. Undefined and defined terms are all about vocabulary, and axioms and or postulate and the theorems are all about principles. Now let us have undefined and defined terms of geometry. The foundations of geometry are the 3 undefined terms: points, lines, and planes. These terms are so basic and fundamental that no other terms can define them. However, they can be described and be given graphical representations.
Now, here are the undefined terms of geometry with descriptions. Point. Point is an exact location in space. It has no size and can be represented by a dot. You name a point with a capital letter. For example, these points are named point A, point B, and point C, or A, B, and C. Next undefined term is line. A line is an arrangement of points that extends infinitely in opposite directions. You can name a line using any 2 points on the line or with a lowercase letter located at one arrowhead of the line. For example, this line is named as line AB. In symbol, it can also be called line L. Next undefined term is plane. Plane is a flat surface that extends in all directions. A plane has no edge, but a 4-sided figure represents a plane. You can name a plane using a capital letter that does not represent any point or 3 of its points that do not belong to the same line. For example, this figure is a plane. It can be named as plane ABC or plane M.
Now, these are some of the real-life examples of the point, line, and plane. The center of the Ferris wheel. The balls. For the lines, we have the pedestrian lane. The books arranged in a library. For plane, the surface of the structure. Another is the surface of the cards. Other basic definitions to define are the following. An angle. An angle is a union of two non-collinear rays with common endpoint. The two non-collinear rays are the sides of the angle, while the common endpoint is called the vertex. This is an example of an angle. An angle PQR. Ray QP and ray QR are called the sides of an angle. The common point Q is the vertex of an angle. We write this angle using the letters and symbols as. In naming an angle, the vertex is always the middle letter of the three letters or only the vertex is used. And the two letters on the side may be interchanged. This angle may be read as angle PQR or angle RQP or just simply angle Q. Line segment. AD is a line segment. The points A, B, C, and D are on line segment AD. In notation, we write or simply AD. We can also name it as segment DA or simply DA. A line segment is part of a line that has two endpoints. We define a line segment AB as a subset of line AB consisting of the points A and B and all the points between them. If the line to which a line segment belongs is given a scale so that it turns into the real line, then the length of the segment can be determined by getting the distance between its endpoints. Ray. A ray is also part of a line but has only one endpoint and extends endlessly in one direction. We name a ray by its endpoint and one of its points. We always start on the endpoint. The figure is ray AB, or we can also name it as ray AC. It is not correct to name it as ray BA or ray CA. In notation, we can write collinear points. Collinear points are points that lie on the same line. Non-collinear points are the points that do not contain on the same line. Coplanar points are points that lie on the same plane. Non-coplanar points are points that do not lie on the same plane. Intersection. Intersection is the set of points that is common to both figures. Intersection could be a point, a line, or a plane. Space. Space is the set of all points. Here is some of the illustration. Points A and B, H, I, and E are collinear points. Points J, I, and G are non-collinear points. Points F, D, E, and C are coplanar points. Points C and G are non-coplanar points. The intersection of line GH and line BH is point H. Line AB is the intersection of plane ABG and plane ABC. Points G and J are coplanar but not collinear.
Do you get it? Good! Now, let us talk about axiom or postulate and theorem. Axiom or postulate is a concept in logic. It is a statement which is accepted without question and which does not require proof. For example, 0 is a natural number. It is an example of axiom or postulate. There are reasons why axiom and postulate has no proof. First, the statement might be obvious. This means most people think it is clearly true. Second, the statement is based on physical laws and can easily be observed. Third, the statement is a proposition. principle of contradiction is an example of an obvious axiom. It says that a statement and its opposite cannot both be true at the same time and place. Thus, you can have a contradictory statement. Examples of a contradictory statement are banal na aso, the cleanest mess, the sweetest salt.
On the other hand, theorem is a statement that needs to be proven first before accepted as true. A theorem is a statement that can be demonstrated to be true by accepted mathematical operations and arguments. In general, a theorem is an embodiment of some general principle that makes it part of a larger theory. Here is an example. The formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a is the side of a right triangle, b is another side of a right triangle, and c is called the hypotenuse. This theorem states that the area of the square whose side is the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the areas of the squares on the other two sides. It is a fundamental relation in Euclidean geometry among the three sides of a right triangle. Complicated?
No.
Now, since you already learned to describe mathematical system and illustrate the different axiomatic structure of a mathematical system in general and in geometry, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities. Let us read the directions. Activity A, word puzzle. Encircle some words or phrases or objects and identify if it represents a point, line, or plane. Words can be seen horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Activity B. Provide what is asked in each item.
Just take your time in answering the activities.
Now, if you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheets.
To end, always remember that learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere.
So, education must continue. Grade 9 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 9 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone! Welcome back mga grade 9 mathematics.
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa nag-isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangko! We learn all things ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
Hooray! Now, let us begin.
Last episodes, we were dealing with algebra. This time, let us explore another branch of mathematics called geometry. Geometry is the branch of mathematics that studies the sizes, shapes, position of angles, and dimension of things. Geometry comes from the Greek word geo, which means earth. and metron, which means measurement.
Now learners, stay tuned and get prepared for we will tackle our first lesson in geometry. And this is all about conditions that make a quadrilateral a parallelogram. The figures shown are all parallelograms. It indicates congruent side if it has single and double thick marks, while it indicates parallel sides if it has single and double arrows. The marks will be used to determine the characteristics that are common to all figures. The figures above have deduced the definition of a parallelogram. What is a parallelogram? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Note, parallel lines are lines in a plane that are always the same distance apart. Parallel lines never intersect.
Now, let us recall the following important terms related to parallelograms. Given this figure, this is a parallelogram. It is named as parallelogram love in symbol. Now, let us answer the questions that follows. First, in the figure, what are the four pairs of consecutive sides or consecutive segments? Note, consecutive sides are two sides that have an endpoint in common. Answer, the four pairs of consecutive sides or segments are side LO and side OV, side OV and side EV, side EV and side LE, side LE and side LO. Second, determine the four pairs of consecutive angles. Note, angles that are next to each other are called consecutive angles. So, what are the four pairs of consecutive angles? The four pairs of consecutive angles are angle L and angle O, angle O and angle V, angle V and angle E, angle E and angle L. Third, identify the two pairs of opposite angles. Note, opposite angles are also known as non-consecutive angles. So, the two pairs of opposite angles are angle L and angle V, angle O and angle E. Next, identify the two pairs of opposite sides. Note, opposite sides are called the non-consecutive sides. So, the two pairs of opposite sides are side LO and side VE, side LE and side OV. Lastly, identify the two diagonals. Diagonal means the segment that connects two non-consecutive vertices. So, the diagonals in this parallelogram are segment LV and segment OE.
Since you already know the different terms related to a parallelogram, we will now determine the conditions that guarantee a quadrilateral a parallelogram. Take note that all parallelograms are quadrilateral, but not all quadrilateral are parallelograms. A quadrilateral is said to be a parallelogram if it guarantees or satisfies the following conditions. First, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Second, both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. The diagonals bisect each other, and a pair of opposite sides are both parallel and congruent. Now, let us apply our knowledge on the different conditions that guarantee a quadrilateral a parallelogram. Now, let us have examples. State the condition that guarantee or guarantees that each of the given figures is a parallelogram. Explain your answer. Example, condition. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. The explanation, segment GI is congruent to segment EV. Segment GE is congruent to segment IV. Next example, condition. Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. The explanation is, angle E is congruent to angle G. Angle H is also congruent to angle F. Another example, the condition, the diagonals bisect each other. Explanation, the diagonals FN and ID bisect each other. Thus, segment FO is congruent to segment ON. Segment DO is congruent to segment OI. Another example, condition, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Explanation, segment BC is parallel to segment AD. Segment BA is also parallel to segment CD. Complicated?
No. Now, since you know already the conditions that make a quadrilateral a parallelogram, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activities.
Let us read the directions. Activity A. Determine if the following statements are true or false. You may draw a figure if necessary. Write your answer on the space provided. Activity B. Determine the condition or conditions that guarantee that each of the given figures is a parallelogram. Write your answer on the space provided.
Take your time in answering the activities.
If you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheet.
To end, always remember that the only way to learn mathematics
Is to do mathematics. Grade 10 learners, stay tuned and get ready for Math 10 is coming next. Good luck and God bless everyone! Welcome back mga grade 10 mathematics.
Today is another brand new day to learn another lesson in mathematics.
Dito sa isang programa nyo,
Ang Tangko! We learn all things ang saya! Ready na ba kayo?
hooray! Now, let us begin. Let us look at this padlock. It has 3 inputs. In order to unlock it, the order of the input must be correct. If the order of the input changes, then it won't be opened. Though the numbers are same, but the order plays important role.
Now learners, we will learn further about this concept as we learn another lesson today. And this is all about Permutation. What is permutation? Permutation refers to the different arrangement of objects in a definitive manner. The order of the objects is important. Now, there are two types of permutations. First, permutations of objects in a line and permutations of objects in a circle. There are also two kinds of permutations of objects in a line. These are permutation of distinct objects and permutation of non-distinct objects.
But in this lesson, let us focus first on the permutation of distinct objects in a line. What is permutation of distinct objects? Permutation of distinct objects refers to the different arrangements of distinct objects in a line. It is the different arrangements when no object are identical or the same. Examples: arranging 4 different potted plants in a row. What makes this a permutation of distinct object is that 4 different potted plants are distinct objects and are arranged in a line. 4 potted plants at a time. The potted plants can be arranged according to height or according to kind, according to appearance, or any basis we want. For instance, 4 potted plants are coded with A, B, C, or D. The possible arrangements are: with the use of fundamental counting principle, therefore, there are 24 possible arrangements of 4 potted plants in a row. Another example: choosing president, vice president, and secretary from 10 members in a club. A president can be a vice president or a secretary at the same time, so meaning 3 different officers are to be chosen from 10 members. 3 members at a time. Suppose the names of the 10 members are: one possible result could be the president is J. Gubaton, vice president is I. Makamay, and the secretary is F. Leon. This is different from other possible results, like the president is H. Santos, vice president is R. Cruz, and secretary is J. Gubaton. Note: it's hard making a list of all possible arrangements when the list is long. The number of possible outcomes for the position: for president, we can have 10 possible choices. For vice president, we can have 9 possible choices. And for secretary, we have 8 possible choices. With the use of fundamental counting principle, we can have 10 times 9 times 8. Therefore, there are 720 possible ways of electing mathematics club president, vice president, and secretary.
Easy, right?
Now let us proceed to permutation of non-distinct objects.
Permutation of non-distinct objects is another type of permutation in a line, in which it is a permutation when objects are not distinct. For example, finding the number of possible arrangements of the letters of the word tree. This permutation is non-distinct because there are duplications of letters. In the word tree, there are 2 E's. Now, since the 2 E's are the same, we can't make a distinction between the two. Thus, let us use uppercase for one E and lowercase for the other E. The possible arrangements are: now these 2 E's are the same. Thus, these arrangements are also the same. Therefore, there are 12 possible arrangements of the letters of the word tree. We can also use the fundamental counting principle. Now, since there are 4 letters in the word tree and there are 2 E's, or for each permutation like tree, there are 2 just like what is mentioned above. The duplications are eliminated by dividing. We now have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 2 times 1. Simplifying, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is equal to 24. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. We now have 24 over 2. 24 over 2 or 24 divided by 2 is equal to 12. Therefore, there are 12 possible arrangements of the letters of the word tree.
Now, since you already learned how to illustrate and solve problems involving permutation, then it's time to get your activity sheet in this lesson and answer the given activity. Let us read the directions. Answer the following problems.
Just take your time in answering the activity.
If you have questions or clarifications, you may contact the number of your teacher printed below your activity sheet. To end, always remember that learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere.
So, education must continue.
Good luck and God bless everyone!
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine,
the Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media at instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Facebook Live. Of course, we are live na live today via DepEd Tayo Tanggap Facebook page and Astral Academy Facebook page. And today is Tuesday. And pag Tuesday, yes, kami ang inyong makauban today. Again, I am Miss Alvin Nueva.
And of course, Ma'am Gay Soterio Saavedra. So learners, welcome sa tuang Quarter 3, Week 1.
Yes.
Here in Astral Academy Facebook Live. And since Tuesday man ta karon, of course, di na ito malimtan nga pag Tuesday, it is Mathematics Day for our grade 7 to grade 10 learners.
That is right. So hello and welcome mga Mathenics. Alright, so magsugod na sa itong grade 7 lesson after a short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we're back, still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so Ma'am Gay, magsugod na itong grade 7 topic this afternoon. Okay, so Ma'am Gay?
Alright, so for grade 7 mathematics, week 1 of quarter 3, our lesson is all about representing point, line, and plane using concrete and pictorial models. So actually, Ma'am LV, kaning quarter 3 sa ato ang grade 7, no, it is all about geometry yun. Then since week 1 man ta karon, so mag-start kita og tackle about geometry. So actually, class, when we say geometry, it is a branch of mathematics that studies the sizes, shapes, position of angles, and dimension of things. So, in your mathematics class, learners, if ever makatagbo mo sa inyong lesson of shapes, no?
That's right.
Yes, mga, what else? Angles, dimension sa mga butang, like the length, width, height, the thickness. So, that lesson is all about geometry. Good. Okay, so, going back to our main lesson, which is all about representing point, line, and plane using concrete and pictorial models. By the way, class, kani si point, line, and plane, mo gini siya ang mga basic terms, no, in geometry.
Yes.
Okay, actually, they are called the undefined terms in geometry. They are also called the building blocks in geometry. That is why it's a must yun no nga makatunan sa tuang mga learners karon.
Yes.
Now, to start with, we will define first the first term in geometry. We have the point. Okay, so unsa man ni si point? Here. So when we say point, it shows an exact location. Point has no size. Point has no dimension. And point is represented by a dot. Okay, so if we have a dot here, okay, right, so this is an illustration of a point. As you can see, it has, it indicates an exact location. It has no size. Right? When we say no dimension, walay thickness, walay length, and width, no? Ato ang point. And of course, again, it is represented by a dot. So if we are going to label this point here like point or capital letter W, so we now have point W, right? So we can name this point right here as point W. Okay? And take note, Ma'am Elvino, na in naming a point, we are going to use a capital letter. Alright? So, bisag asa ni maibutang si capital letter, pwede sa imabaw, sa kilid, basta sa kilid sa point. Okay? Yes. And take note also, learners, that point can be represented by concrete or pictorial models. So, to start representing point using concrete and pictorial models. So may mga representation, Ma'am Elvino.
Okay, so we have tip of a pencil. Okay?
Yes.
So tip of a pencil represents a point.
Yes,
it
of
has
course.
no dimension,
no size. Right. So another is mga this one, tip of a marker.
That's right.
Yes, kanang mga tumoy sa butang, no? So, tumoy sa, or tip. Maot man gamito ng tumoy, Ma'am LV, no? So, tip na lang. Tip of a pencil, tip of a ball pen, tip of this marker. So, mga tip sa mga butang.
That is right.
So, another representation is, how about mga corners, no? So, when you say corner of this whiteboard, so we have 4 corners right here. So, this one, this corner, it represents a point.
Corner of a book.
Yes, corner of a book. So, mga corners could represent a point. So, another, location in a map. So, pwede mo maglantaw-lantaw sa inyong palibot, learners, and inyuhang huna-hunaan ug unsa pay laing representation sa point. Okay? So, I hope you're nasabtan on how to represent a point using concrete or pictorial models. So, we are done with point. Next, undefined term in geometry is this one. Okay? So, we have here a line. Okay. When we say line, it extends in 2 opposite directions without end. So, to illustrate a line, so we have, pasensya nagmahiwi na itong line class, ito tayo ruler. So, here. So, again, line extends in 2 opposite directions without end. So, here is an illustration of a line. So, as you can see, natay arrow ibutang in both ends, Ma'am LV, no? Arrow in both ends means the line extends in both directions because it is infinite. Okay? Next is, a line contains infinite points. Now, since ang line na to extends infinitely in both directions, so a line contains infinite points. So, pwede ta makabutang og points right here.
In between.
Yes. As long as it is on the line, right? So, daghan kay points si line since it extends in both directions. Now, also a line can be named using 2 points, of course, on a line. So, if we have here an illustration of a line, so as what we have said earlier, that a line contains many points, and if i-specify na to itong points sa line, Ma'am LV, like here, natay pila ka points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lang ang ato ang i-indicate nga point. And if we are going to label each point, like we have W,
We can use
Z,
any capital letters.
yes, point G, point A, point Y. So, again, in naming this line, magamit ta og
We have double A's.
double A, sorry. So, any...
E.
Yes, E na lang. Para walay magdoble. So, again, in naming a line, we can name using 2 points, no? 2
Yes.
points only. So, bisag asa na nga point class inyuhang gamiton. Pwede line WZ, line ZA, RG, line EY, and so on. And to write that, we are going to write this one. Okay? So, if ato ang i-name ani nga line is line WZ, then we have this one. Okay? So, ato lang i-draw ang line sa imabaw sa duha ka letters. Alright? So, we have line WZ. Another, if you are going to name this as line AR, so, you are going to write that as this one. Okay? So, that is how to name a line. So now, since kay ganina, ato ang na-represent si point using concrete or pictorial models, this time, how about a line? So daghan pong representations si line, Ma'am LV. Now, let's start with...
We can have string of a guitar.
Yes, string of a guitar is a representation of a line. Another is mga edges, no?
Yes,
Edges sa
this
mga
one.
butang. So, edge of this whiteboard.
This represents
Yes, it is a representation of a line. Another is strand of a hair of our hair. Yes.
This represents a line.
Okay.
Or a rod.
Yes.
So there are a lot of representations for
of
a
a
line.
line.
In real life. Even at home, you can have, or you can see a lot of representations for a line.
Yes. So, I hope nasabtan ang representations ni line. And now, let us proceed to the third one. We have the
plane. So, unsa man po ni si plane? When we say plane, dili airplane class ha. When we say plane, it is a flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. So, this is an illustration of a plane. As you can see, it is a flat surface. So, and as you can see also, it extends in all directions. And a plane also has infinite length, width, and no thickness. Kay flat surface naman siya.
right.
So, ang dimension niya is length and width ra gyud. So, wala siya thickness. Alright? So, now, since kaganina, we represented point and line using concrete and pictorial models, this time, let us proceed to a plane. So, unsa po kay representations ni plane, or real-life representations? So, first, we have here the surface of this whiteboard.
The surface of the
Yes.
whiteboard. The floor.
Yes, the floors, mga flat surfaces,
surface.
no? Cell phone screen ninyo.
right.
Yes. TV screen and many more. So, daghan pa ka yung representations ni plane as long as flat surfaces. Okay? So, now, since Ma'am Elvie nag-talk naman ta about point and plane, so there are also other terms related to point and plane. So, wala lang po ng hisgutan. So, we have here, okay, please follow. We have collinear points and non-collinear points. So, when we say collinear points, these are points that lie on the same line. So, opposite to collinear points, natay gitawag nga non-collinear points. So, kanipod nga mga points that do not lie on the same line are called non-collinear points. So, example. So, if we have here a line, so as you can see, na specific points sa ang line, we have point S, point R, and point U. And then, naapoy mga points nga wala sa line or not on the line, we have point C and point H. Now, asa kahan ang collinear points, asa po aning mga non-collinear points. Again, balik ta to determine the collinear points, points that lie on the same line. Now, since si point S na to, point R and point U, nag-line man sila class on the same line, therefore, si point S, point R, point U are called collinear points. Okay. Now, how about non-collinear? So, wala nag-lie on the same line. So, kining tanan nga points, apilo na to si point C, point H, kung silang tanan nga points ang ato ang i-refer, the ari class, so, wala sila nag-lie on the same line, right? Kasi point C, si point H, nalayo or
They do not
term.
lie on the same line.
Yes, nasa
Outside the
laag.
line.
Yes, nasa laag. Bali si point C and point H. Therefore, si point S, point R, point U, appeal si point C, point H are called non-collinear points because they do not lie on the same line. So, now, related to plane pod class, na po yung mga terms nga atong hinumduman, we have the coplanar points and the non-coplanar points. When we say coplanar points, these are points that lie on the same plane. So, kung kaganina collinear, lie on the same line, si coplanar, from the word coplanar, points that lie in the same plane. Opposite to this, we have also non-coplanar. Si non-coplanar pod are points that do not lie on the same plane. Now, example. So, we have a plane right here. So, on the plane, natay upat ka points nga makita. We have point S, point H, point R, o point U. As you can see, class, si point C, wala nag-lie sa same plane nga nag-lie si point S, point H, point R, o point U. Now, asa man ani si coplanar o si non-coplanar points. So, since si point S, point H, point R, and point U, naaman sila sa usa ka plane, then they are called coplanar points. Now, if i-appeal na to si point C, aning upat, okay? Now, since si point C nasa laag man, therefore, kung i-appeal na to siya, matawag nato ni silang 5 ka points as non-coplanar points. Okay? So, that's all about the other terms related to point and plane. So, balik ta sa ato ang main objective lesson, Ma'am Elvie, no? We are going to represent point, line, and plane using concrete and pictorial models. I hope nasabtan, baliko na to. Representing point using concrete models, we could have tip of a ball pen, tip of a pencil, corner of a book, grain of salt, and so on.
Yes.
And many more. And we have also, and if we have lines, so daghan pong representations, we have strand of our hair, edges of the board,
Pedestrian lane.
pedestrian lane, okay, and many more. And if we talk about plain pod, mga flat surfaces, it could be top of the table,
Or your activity sheets.
yes, TV screen, and so
Mga
on.
flat surface.
Mga flat surface lang. So I hope nasabtan na ito ang grade 7 lesson karong hapuna.
Yes.
Now, stay tuned learners, because grade 8 topic will be discussed after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Addition o multiplication, subtraction o ang division. Problema dali ra sulbaron, kay ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon. Ang mati ay sayon.
Alright, we're back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. So, kaganina, we talked about grade 7 math lesson. Karon proceed ta class sa grade 8 math lesson na to.
Yes. Okay, so our competency for this week for Math 8 is, first, we have to describe a mathematical system. And so, duha. The second one is illustrate the need for axiomatic structure of a mathematical system in general and in geometry in particular, define terms, undefined terms, postulates, and theorems. So basically, natay duha competencies. But we have to start with the second competency first. So let us illustrate these following terms so that later on, as we go with this discussion, Manggod, we can actually describe already the mathematical system. Alright? So let's start with this. Okay, so a typical mathematics system has the following 4 parts. So basically, this is the mathematical system in geometry. Yes, because sa imong giingon ganina naman gay that for quarter 3 in mathematics 7, 8, 9, and 10, I'm not sure. Well, for 7 and 8, we are actually in geometry. Yes, so very first topic good for third quarter is geometry. So with the grade 8, all right? So here we have 4 parts. First is we have the undefined terms, defined terms, axioms, and or postulates, and theorems. So let's start with undefined and defined terms. When we talk about undefined and defined terms, these are actually vocabulary. Para sa kaganina Ma'am Gay, the point, line, and plane. And when we talk about axioms and or postulate, these are and theorems, these are all about principles. Okay? So let's start with undefined terms of geometry. So when we say undefined terms of geometry, the foundations of geometry are the 3 undefined terms: mo ni ang atong gihisgutan ganina sa tong grade 7 lesson since it's spiraling man, no?
Yes.
So we have point, line,
And,
and
plane.
Alright. So these terms are, yun nga, so basic and fundamental that no other terms can define them. Alright? So however, they can be described and be given graphical representations. Graphical representations in a sense na abstract man gud siya, Ma'am Gay, no? So the point, the line, and the plane, when we say point, it has no dimension, but we have representations man adto nganong maingon mata nga the ball represents a point wherein we can actually measure it, but it's actually abstract. That is why representations ra siya, okay, for a point, okay? So yun, these terms actually are used to define other terms also in geometry. That's why they are called the basic terms in geometry, okay? So the next one is this one we also have, balik ko na to, no? Point, line, and plane. So advanced my prompter is. Okay? So we have, when we talk about point, balik ko lang na to, no? It is an exact location in space. It has no size, and it can be represented by a dot. So kaganina nakita natong examples. So representations for point is we have mongosid or balls. Okay? So, line also is an arrangement of points that extends infinitely in opposite directions. So, we can name a line, as you can see earlier, nga magamit ta og 2 points or even 1 letter, Ma'am Gay, no? Line L. We can also name a line using a small
Letter.
one small capital, small letter, small capital. All right. So we have also representations for line. As you can see, kaganina we have their string of a guitar,
Yes.
strand of our hair. We also have yun, so mga edge of the cabinet. So those things or objects represent a line. And the third one is the plane. So it is a flat surface that extends in all directions. So we also have a lot of representations for plane. So we have the surface of the cards, the floor, the TV screen. So those 3 terms belongs to undefined terms. They are not necessarily nga nagi siya definition, that's why it's called undefined, no? But yes, we could represent it using abstract representations. All right, so other basic terms in geometry, we have an angle.
Yes.
Okay, so an angle is a union of 2 collinear rays with common endpoints, and 2 non-collinear rays are the sides of the angle, while the common endpoint is the vertex. So we have here, mag-draw the icon. Okay, so basically, okay, so this is how angle is illustrated. Okay, so as you can see, it is a combination of 2 rays. So let us,
Non-collinear rays.
yes, non-collinear rays. We have here, let's name this as point as A, point B, point C. So we can name this angle as angle ABC or just simply angle B. Okay, so the center where the 2 non-collinear rays met is what we call the vertex. Okay, vertex of an angle. And these are, the 2 rays are also what we call the sides of an angle. So that is how we illustrate an angle. Other term is what we call the line segment. Okay, so line segment is a part of a line that has 2 endpoints. So example or an illustration, if we have here, okay, line segment is a line that is part of a line. Let us say this example here, we can have a line segment. Again, ang line segment is written with 2 capital letters with a line on the top of it. So in this line, we can use 1 capital small letter man, no? So let us just say this is a line M. Okay? We have segments, line segments that we can find on a line M. So we can have segment AB. So as you can see, this is a line that is part of a line wherein it has 2 endpoints. Alright? So that is a line segment. So we could say this, a line segment AB. What else? We could also have a line segment BC. So, line nga party siya sa isa ka line, pero again, it has two endpoints. We could also have line segment AC. Alright? So, you can also interchange line segment. Okay? So, that is how we illustrate line segment. Next term is what we call the ray. So, unsa may difference sa ray o sa line segment? So, it is also part of a line, but has only one endpoint and extends endlessly in one direction. So, we name ray by its endpoint and one of its points. So, example, if we have here an illustration, let us name this as point A, and this is a point C. So, as you can see, that ray starts with an endpoint, okay, and ends with a point. As you can see here, this ray, we could have a ray AC. Dili pwede, it is wrong if we name it ray CA. Okay? So we have to start with, ang end yun sa ray is, what do you call this? Endlessly. Okay? Kanang makita ninyo ang asa ang arrow, that means it extends infinitely. So therefore, ang ray is mag-start yun ka sa end point and ends with another point of a line. Okay, so it is wrong if we name this ray as ray CA because here C a point, but if you end with A, end point man pud na siya. So ang ray is dili siya mag-end sa end point. Dapat gud siya isa ni point nga naa din di sa it is on the point na endlessly in one direction. So makita natin when we say endlessly in one direction, ang clue nato din ha is actually the arrow. Okay? That means we end the line extends infinitely. All right? So that's why it's called you have to extends endlessly in one direction. Okay, so that's it. So as you can see, klaruhon lang nato ha, the difference between line segment and array. When we talk about line segment, ang both ends good niya class is endpoint. But here in array, we have to start with the endpoint and ends with the point wherein naa dito ng atong arrow. Pasabot, it still extends on in one direction. Okay, so nasabtan. Again, ang line segment is represented or written with a line on the top of the two letters, but array is written with a line nga naay arrow sa end. Wala siya pasabot nga two endpoints ang sa line segment. Ang sa array is naa siya arrow on the end.
Alright.
Alright.
And actually, Ma'am LV, kani si ray o si segment are subsets of a line.
Yes.
Makita gyud nato ni silang duha sa line.
That's right. Okay, actually, we could have array here, no? So as you can see, we could also have array here. We could name array ray BA or ray BC. Pero careful lang jud ka nga dili ka mag-end sa imong ray nga endpoint. Example CB. B is an endpoint, right?
Yes.
Okay, and another thing is for line segment, you can write it with a line or without a line. Pwede ra siya. Let's say line segment AB nga AB lang nakasula.
Okay.
Okay, so next is axiom or postulate. So it is a concept in logic, a statement which is accepted without questions and which does not require proof. Okay, so example, 0 is a natural number. Okay, it is an example of an axiom or postulate. So, pasabot, dili na kailangan siya og proof.
Yes.
Okay? Wala siya gitawag nga axiom or postulate. So, there are reasons why axiom or postulate has no proof. First is, the statement might be obvious. So, obvious ra kayo. This means most people think it is clearly true. And the second one is the statement is based on physical laws and can easily be observed. And lastly, the statement is a proposition. When we say proposition, it is something offered for consideration or acceptance. Okay, so just like when I say Ma'am Gay is beautiful, that is already an action. Hindi na kailangan lalison. Hindi na kailangan,
Wow.
because it's very obvious and it's very
Thank you.
clear, no? So, makita ninyo. Okay, so di na mag-apil-apil ng uban, no? Alright, so, on the other hand, so if the action or postulate does not need or require any proof, where theorem is a statement that needs to be proven first before accepted as true. Do you want me to give an example? Okay, dili na lang. Okay, so, well, yes. Theorem needs to be proven pa siya, so kailangan siya prove.
Yes.
So when we say guwapo si ano, okay, si... Okay, so, well, anyway, kidding aside. So, a theorem can be demonstrated to be true by accepted mathematical operations and arguments. So, in general, a theorem is an embodiment of some general principle that makes it part of a large theory. So, example, if you talk about the hypotenuse of a triangle. So, hypotenuse is actually the square of the hypotenuse is just equal to the sum of the square of these two sides. So that thing there is a theorem because that needs to be proven. Okay? Kailangan pa siya og mga supporting documents. Okay, so those are the terms in geometry. Now, going back to the first competency in how to describe the mathematical system. So basically, in describing a mathematical system of a geometry, we are actually using those terms. Katotong di panghisgutan ka ganina. So, geometry, if wala to si action or postulate, if wala to si undefined terms, if wala to si theorems, so the system of a mathematical, the system of mathematics could be actually null, empty. So, diri na nagtuyok ang mathematical system. So, as you can see, we started with undefined terms, okay? So, gikan sa undefined terms, nga dili na kailangan og
Formal definition.
where from those undefined terms naggamit na pud ta og mga defined terms. Nga katong mga defined terms gamit pa na to og define other other theorems in geometry. So basically, nag-develop ang mathematical system using these terms. Okay, if wala ni sila, then it could be na statement in geometry nga mag-contradict na dayon. Okay? So that is how we describe a mathematical system of geometry. Okay? So that's it. I hope that everything is clear. Alright, so we will be right back after a short break. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we're back still here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, so Ma'am Gay, before ta mag-start sa atong grade 9 lesson, ang ato ang second attendance
Attendance
marker
marker.
is already on your screen. So please take note.
Okay, so I guess pwede na tayo mag-start, Ma'am Elvino. So for our grade 9 mathematics for quarter 3, week 1, mo na itong lesson. Sorry, it is all about determining the conditions that make a quadrilateral a parallelogram. So na mga klase-klase nga mga conditions, Ma'am Elvino, para matawag na to si quadrilateral nga parallelogram. So, but by the way, review tagamay ni quadrilateral. When we say quadrilateral, it is a four-sided polygon.
Yes.
So, makita mo dihag shapes or polygon, yung four sides, that is called a quadrilateral. So, si quadrilateral pod class is naapod siya lain-lain niya klase. So, usa na ani si parallelogram.
The
So,
very common quadrilateral nga ilang makuan is square, the
Yes.
rectangle.
Square, rectangle are quadrilaterals.
Yes.
Okay? And actually, they're also part of kaning gitawag natong parallelogram.
Yes.
Okay? So, unsa kay mga conditions no to that guarantees nga ang isa ka quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So, but by the way, unsa po ni si parallelogram? So, let us start by defining a parallelogram. So here, when we say parallelogram, it is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So again, si parallelogram is a quadrilateral. Nga, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. When we say opposite sides, kini nga sides ang mo ni sila nga mga sides ang mga nag-atbang, no?
Yes.
Alright? So, opposite sides ang tawag sa sides nga nag-atbang. And when we say parallel or parallel sides, those are sides nga bisag unsa na itong extend, dili sila mag-meet. Okay? So, parallel sides ang tawag. Now, let us have an example. If si quadrilateral ba, matawag na to og parallelogram. So, here, this is our first example. Okay? So, here we have quadrilateral LOVE. Okay? So, here, so actually, klaro man kaayo nga this is a quadrilateral since it has four sides. Alright? So, and as you can see, learners, natay mga arrows nga mga makita sa sides, no, sa quadrilateral. So, we have here si side LO and side EV, sorry, na duha ka arrows, and also si side LE and side OV na isa ka arrow. So, actually, learners, kaning arrow, mo ni sila mga timailhan kung parallel ba ang opposite sides. So, sa yun na kayo pag-determine kung parallel ba ang opposite sides, pamaagi sa arrows. Especially aning example na to. So here, si side LO class, ay ang kaatbang or ka-opposite side is si side EV. Or LO and EV are opposite sides, no? Mauning na ay duha ka arrows. So, since na ay duha ka arrows si side LO and EV, that means si side LO is parallel to side EV. So, bisag i-extend na to si LO, i-extend na to si side LO class, extend po na to si side EV, in both directions, dili gina sila mag-meet. Mo na meaning sa parallelism or parallel. Okay? And we can write that as side LO is parallel to side EV. Okay? So, this is a symbol for parallelism. Duha ka bagis. Take note of that. Next, si side LE class, iyang ka-opposite nga side is side OV, kaatbang side bale. So, we can say that LE and OV are the opposite sides. And as you can see na, sila isa ka arrow. So, that means, parehas lang na ay isa ka arrow, that means they are parallel. So, si side LE is parallel ni side OV. So, we can write that as side LE is parallel to side OV. So, pwede na ninyo ma-interchange ang letters class because actually, in naming a side, we can name it using its endpoint. So, pwede side LE or side EL, side OV or side VO. So, now, since both pairs or two pairs or both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, then we can say that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So, klaro man no, by the definition of a parallelogram. So, again, its definition is parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So actually, kanang definition ni parallelogram, Ma'am LV, is mo na siya first condition nato para ma-determine nato nga si quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So unsa pa kay laing mga conditions no that satisfies or guarantees that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram? So well, we have this one. Okay, here. A quadrilateral is said to be a parallelogram if it guarantees or satisfies the following conditions. First condition, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So, mo ato ang giskutan ganina using the definition of a parallelogram. So, next, proceed to sa second condition. So, second condition, both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Again, opposite sides, sides nga nag-atbang. And when we say congruent in geometry, that means same measure. So, matawag na itong quadrilateral, parallelogram si quadrilateral if both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Now, example. So, here. So, for our second condition, we're going to use this figure. Now, how about itong figure nga given quadrilateral is wala tay mga timailhan, wala tay arrows makita, no? So, parihaan nga figure. So, how can we determine if kani nga quadrilateral is a parallelogram? Well, how about if ang measure sa sides ang given? So, pwede ta maka-determine, ana, Ma'am LV, kung parallelogram siya given ang measure. Na, example, if side AD, actually this quadrilateral is quadrilateral ABCD or quadrilateral ADCB, and so on. So, there are many ways to name this quadrilateral. So, here, example, ang side AD na to is, or measures 9 centimeters. Si side BC na to, 9 centimeters pod. Ang side AB na to, example, is, ang measure niya is 6 centimeters. And then si side DC is 6 centimeters. Okay, here. How about measure sa sides ang given? Now, matawag ba nato nig parallelogram ni nga quadrilateral given the sides? So, ito ang susikon. So, looking at the sides, the opposite sides rather, si side AD, as you can see, ang opposite side is side BC, which is, same silag measure, no? Nga 9 centimeters. Okay. Meaning, si side AB is congruent to side BC. They have the same measure. We can write that as side AD is congruent to side BC. This is the symbol for congruence, right? Take note of that, learners. And next is how about this one, this pair of opposite sides. We have side AB. Diba, opposite man siya ni side DC, or side AB and side DC are the opposite sides. Another opposite sides rather. And as you can see, same sila of measure, which is 6 centimeters. We can write that as what? Side AB is congruent to side DC. Now, since class, both pairs of opposite sides are congruent, both pairs of opposite sides are parihag measure, then we can say that this quadrilateral di is a parallelogram. Okay? Kaya there are cases, man good class nga, walay ti mailhan kung parallel ba. So, what if ang given nga case is na measure sa sides? And same of measure ang opposite sides. So, usa na sa tong mga timailhan. And that is all about the second condition that guarantees that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay? Now, let us proceed to our third condition. Third condition that make a quadrilateral a parallelogram is this one. Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. Kung kaganina, opposite sides ang ginaisgutan, karon na pod opposite angles. When we say opposite angles, angles nga nag-atbang, duha ka angles nga nag-atbang sa quadrilateral. And when we say congruent again, the same measure. So, let us have an example. Okay, here. So, gamiton na ito nga figure class sa itong third condition. Now, how about angles or measure na po sa angles ang given? And actually, di ba, nakabalo na mo nga si quadrilateral na ay pila ka angles? Yes, we have 4 angles sa quadrilateral. Here, we have angle A, angle D, angle C, and angle B. Now, how about if na ay measure ang kada angle? Shall we say, si angle A, 120 degrees. Angle B, 60 degrees. Angle D, 60 degrees pod. And si angle C nato is 120 degrees po diyang measure. Now, given the measure of the angles of this quadrilateral, matawag ba nato siya og parallelogram ni nga quadrilateral. So, itong susihon, dapat no, both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. So here, angle A, mayang kaatbang nga angle. Of course, angle C. So angle A and angle C are called opposite angles. And as you can see, same sila og measure. Therefore, we can write this as angle A is congruent to
Angle C.
angle C. Okay? Same man sila measure, therefore they are congruent. Now, how about the other pair of opposite angles? So, we have here angle B, yang kaatbang angles, or yang ka-opposite is the angle D. So, same ba silang measure? Yes. Pareha silang 60 degrees ang ilang measure. Then, we can write that as angle B is congruent to angle D. Now, class, since both pairs of opposite angles man are congruent, so yung ani nga case ang atong quadrilateral, so we can say that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, I hope nasabtan ang atong third condition. Now, for the fourth condition is this one. Matawag na itong parallelogram si quadrilateral if the diagonals bisect each other. Alright? When we say diagonals, class, these are segments that joins or connects the two vertices of the opposite vertices of the quadrilateral. And when we say bisect, ano sabi ng bisect? Divide niya bali into two equal parts. Again, the diagonals bisect each other. So here, let us have an example. Right? So for our fourth example, for our fourth condition, so again, our fourth condition, matawag na to si quadrilateral o parallelogram if the diagonals bisect each other. So, karon class, in a quadrilateral, pila man day kabuk ato ang diagonals. So we have two diagonals. If we are going to connect two opposite vertices, like point A here, yang kaatbang nga vertex or point is point C. So, tuwa silang i-connect. Okay, sorry. So, wala kayo na tarong. Sorry. So, we can create a diagonal. So, we have here, line AC or segment AC here is a diagonal. So, another, how about si vertex si point D, yang kaatbang is si point B, o atong i-connect ning duha, sorry if wala na for mga line, we can also create a diagonal. So, in a quadrilateral class, actually, there are two diagonals. Good. Now, for our fourth condition, if the diagonals bisect each other, bisect meaning nag-meet silang duha and then divide nila ang tagsa-tagsa into two equal parts, then matawag na to na quadrilateral nga parallelogram. So, here, ato ang libela ning point of intersection sa duha ka diagonals as point F, bale. So, here. Now, if ang segment AF na to class is parehag measure ni segment FC, kay nag-bisect man duha ka diagonal, so kana gyud mahitabo. If nag-bisect ang duha ka diagonals, then ang mahitabo is congruent ni si AF og si FC. Like, ug unsay measure ni AF, mao po'y measure ni FC. So, kung 6 cm si AF, mao pod si FC. And another is this one. Okay? Same po dog measure ni si segment BF o si segment FD. Okay? So, kung sa measure ni BF, mo po yung measure ni FD. Now, if this is the case of your quadrilateral, so, kung mauni nga given, okay? Walay gihatag nga timailhan kung parallel, walay gihatag nga given sa sides, walay gihatag nga given sa angles. So, yung ani og purma, the diagonals bisect each other, then you can say that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So, very good. So, mao na ato ang fourth condition that makes a quadrilateral a parallelogram. So, we are done with this. Now, how about our last condition? Our last condition, class, is this one. A pair of opposite sides are both parallel and congruent. So, actually, kanitong last condition ng LV is combination lang ni first and second.
Yes.
No? So, no need na nga i-discuss pa nato. Kaya na-discuss na nato kaganina. Alright? So, I hope na sabtan. But for more examples, lantaw na to ang presentation, Ma'am LV, no?
Okay.
Yes. Para ilahaging masabtan na to ang lesson karon. So, here. So, our first example, direct parihog ko sa number 1 sa examples. Okay, that one. So for our first example, as you can see on your screen right now, natay given nga quadrilateral. Then I measure sa kada sides. So matawag ba natong parallelogram na quadrilateral, class? The answer is yes. But unsa ka nga condition nga nag-guarantee nga kana quadrilateral is a parallelogram? So unsa ka nga condition, Ma'am Elvie, no? That
As you
is
can see, same measurement ang atong segment GI and segment or side AV.
Yes.
Where these two sides are actually the opposite
the
sides.
opposite sides.
It's on our condition.
Yes.
Nga ang opposite sides of a quadrilateral, if they are congruent, then they are called parallelogram. And the same thing with side GE and side IV.
IV.
So same, 9. Ilang measurement.
Yes. So actually, that condition is the second condition specifically, no? That both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. So kay congruent man both pairs of opposite sides, then that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So again, ang condition is the second condition. Next, second example is that one. So given that figure, yes, that one. So given that figure, as you can see, we have quadrilateral EFGH. And then I measure sa kada angles, Ma'am Elvie, no? So matawag ba ka nato ni nga na quadrilateral o parallelogram? The answer is yes. But unsa ka ang condition nga ni guarantee or ni satisfy ani Ma'am Elvie?
Well,
What do you
as
think?
we can see on the figure that the opposite angles, we have there angle E and angle G. So with angle F and angle H, they have same measurement. Congruent ang ilahang angles. The opposite angles, angle E and G, they are both 110 degrees, and angle F and H, they're both 70 degrees. So
yes,
that is part of our condition. What condition number ganito?
That is condition, third condition, I guess, that is opposite angles are congruent. So, again, what condition? Yaning satisfy anato ang figure? Very good. That is both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. So, very
in that
good.
figure, it shows parallelogram.
Yes. How about our third example? Okay, so our third example, as you can see, so the diagonals bisect each other. Gina, Ma'am Elvie, no? Kay gibahin
Looking
ginila.
at the figure.
Yes, looking at the figure, FN and DI are the diagonals. So FN and DI bisect each other. That is why FO is congruent to ON. Same with DO and OI. They are congruent with each other. So therefore, matawag na to na quadrilateral o parallelogram kay because of the condition. The diagonals bisect each other.
That's right.
Alright? Next, how about number 4? Atong last gyud nga example. So, can we call that figure, that quadrilateral, a parallelogram, Ma'am Elvie?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
This is actually the first condition, if I'm not mistaken.
The definition itself of a parallelogram, no?
That
That
shows the arrows.
yes. So that means si BC parallel ni AD kay naay duha ka arrows. Si AB pod parallel ni CD. So by the definition itself of a parallelogram and atong first condition that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, then that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Mao ganing sa ngalan pa lang daan ni parallelogram na nay word nga parallel. Okay? So, I hope nasabtan na tong lesson karon, Mathematics 9, Quarter 3, Week 1. That is all about determining the conditions that make a quadrilateral a parallelogram. Okay, so learners, stay tuned because grade 10 Mathematics will be discussed after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School. And now we're back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. So we're done with grade 7, 8, and 9 math
Yes.
lessons atong quarter 3, week 1, Ma'am Elvic. So karon, let us proceed to our grade 10 mathematics lesson.
That is right. So our competency for our grade 10 lesson is illustrate the permutation of objects and solve problems involving permutations. Okay, so we have two competencies. So let's start with the first one, illustrate the permutation of objects. So let us define first with the permutation. When we talk about permutation, it refers to the different arrangement of objects in a definitive manner. The order of the object is very important. So again, permutation refers to different ways or different arrangement of the objects, just like this example. So we have here 3 objects. We have here the ink, we have here the eraser, and we have here the battery. So this actually in row, arrange it in row, and when we talk about permutation, this is actually different ways. So if we're going to, as you can see from the ink, eraser to battery, if we're going to interchange the eraser and the battery, so that is, by the way, this is one arrangement. If we're going to interchange the battery and the eraser, that is another one. And if we're going to interchange also the ink and the battery, that is another arrangement. So that is actually, this shows a permutation. So as you can see, the different arrangement of the objects, that is how permutation works. Okay, so I hope that you already understand what permutation is. So again, this refers to the different arrangement of the objects. Now, the permutation has 2 types. So we have here the permutation of objects in a line and permutation of objects in a circle. And yes, we'll just focus this afternoon on the very basic permutation, and that is permutation of object in a line. Okay, so permutation of objects in a line has also 2 kinds. So first, we have permutation of distinct objects, and the second one is permutation of non-distinct objects. So later on, mahibaw-an na to unsay kalainan ni permutation with distinct objects and permutation of non-distinct objects. All right, so Ma'am Gay, what do we mean by permutation of distinct objects, Ma'am Gay?
Alright, so when we say permutation of distinct objects, it refers to the different arrangement of distinct objects in a line. So, it is the different arrangements when no objects are identical or the same.
That's right. Okay, so again, pag we talk tag permutation of distinct objects, pasabot, walay magbalik-balik
Alright.
na object. Okay? So, example. So, arranging 4 different potted plants in a row. So, we have there a slide. Please, direct. Okay, so as you can see, that arrangement there is a permutation of a distinct object. Nga naman, because you can see naatay upat ka klase-klase nga potted plants.
Yes.
Walay nagbalik-balik. So, we have there first, sama na siya nga plant mag-isaging-saging. And the second one is mais-mais. Okay, let's just name those plants. The third one could be a anthurium, or that last one is, what's that? Lubi-lubi.
The ginger.
Ginger, yes, it looks like a ginger. Okay, so, yes, it is a distinct objects because walay plants nga identical or
Yes.
pareha. So, let's name this 4 potted plants as plant A, B, C, and D. Naman na pinakasayon. Alright, so, if we're going to look for the arrangement, if we're going to arrange these 4 different potted plants, so we could have, can we show it to the next slide, direct? Okay, so we could have A, B, C, D, or we could also have A, B, D, C. We could also have A, C, D, B. So as you can see, there are a lot of different ways or arrangements in arranging these 4 potted plants.
Yes.
And as you can see, if we're going to use our counting principles, itong ipon na tanan, pila ng kabuktanan, that is actually equal to 24. That is right. So, but actually, Ma'am Gay, na slide technique, Ma'am Gay, no? Mas lisod man good siya if puppet or prompter, Ma'am Gay. Okay, so Huwag nagka-problema technically.
Yes.
Alright. So, as you can see, we have a lot of arrangements.
Arrangements.
So, kung magngalan pa ta or mag-write ta sa 24 kabuok and then count after, so it might take time. Okay? Pero, the technique there is, you have to write a blank line and then you multiply kung pila kabuok objects. In this example, we have 4 objects, Ma'am Gayno, nga i-arrange na to siya in 4 different rows po.
Yes.
So basically, we have, in that case, 4 man siya kabuk i-arrange, so we can have a 4 blank. As a technique lang ni how are going to find the permutation or number of arrangements sa objects. Okay, so kay upat man siya, therefore, that is multiplication. Okay, therefore, we have here 4 blank. Okay, so the first one is, since 4 man to kapotted plants, then that would be our first number here. So, 4. So, kay 4 naman, next na itong i-arrange, pila naman itong options. Kay nabutang naman na itong isa ka-object, pasabot na lang kay 3. Okay, so therefore, the next line would be 3. If the second potted plant is already placed, pila na lang ka-options ang nabilin ngayon mong ibutang. So, that is actually 2. And if maputang na nimo ang next na object, pila na wala na kay other plant, kay 4 potted plants man na, so that is actually 1. So in this case, we are multiplying, or we are going to multiply 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Let's check. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 1 is equal to 24. So there are 24 ways on how to arrange those 4 potted plants. Okay, that is actually the permutation. Alright, so that's it. What about this next example? Okay, so choosing president, vice president, and secretary from 10 members in a club. So actually, lahi ni siya sa atong first example. Nga naman, because in choosing a president and vice president and secretary, dili na biya siya magbalik-balik Ma'am Gayno. So that is an example of a distinct object. Kay kung si president, it doesn't mean na president ka, at the same time, mahimo kang secretary. Right? So, distinct object siya, permutation of distinct object ka, wala man siya yung magbalik-balik nga position or tao. So, in this case, how many members do we have? We have 10. And then, we are choosing president, vice president, and secretary. So, tulo ka buok. So, in that case, using our technique kaganina nga atong gi-present sa atong first example, so since tulo man kabuk positions, therefore, we could have pila ka blank? We have 3. So, in this case, we have 3 for president, vice president, and secretary. In choosing a president from 10 members, pila na kabuk imong options? 10 members man sila, so we have 10. So, that is, basically, that is 10. And next to that is, kay kung nakapili na kag-president, pila na lang mapabok members ang mabilin. So, same thing atong gibot nga technique kaganyan sa number 1 para dili mo maglibog class. Okay, so, since if nabutang ng isa sa president, pila na lang options, that is actually 9. That is right. So, that would be 9 or second blank. And if napili na nimo ang president and vice president, pila na lang man kabok option nimo para mahimo secretary. So, we already have 8. So, pasabot, we already have here 10 times 9 times 8. Let's multiply. 10 times 9, that is equal to 90. 90 times 8, that is equal to 720. So, in choosing a president, vice president, secretary for 10 members, that we can have a permutation na 720. Alright? So, that's it for distinct objects. Now, let's proceed to the second type of permutation in a line, that is permutation of non-distinct objects. Okay, so this is another type of permutation in a line in which it is a permutation with objects are not distinct. Pasabot na ay kapareha.
Yes.
Okay, so kung kanina, itong distinct objects, walay kapareha, permutation of non-distinct objects, pasabot na ay pareha. So let us have an example. Let's show it to the screen direct. Okay, so finding the number of possible arrangement of the letters of the word tree. Okay, so in the word tree, pila ka bok letters na tanan, Ma'am Gay?
We have 4.
We have 4, alright. So, as you can see on our screen, we have there. Okay, so this permutation is non-distinct. It's because na-ay duplication sa letter, Ma'am Gay, no?
Yes.
So what letter is that? That is
Letter
E. That's right. We have two E's. Now, so finding the number of possible arrangements of these letters of the word tree, you can see it on your screen. So we have, actually, kay duhaman tabok atong letter E, so we could maybe write it as a small letter E ang isa ha, para makita ninyo pila kabok arrangements. So we have T-R-E-E. We also have the T-R-E interchange itong duha ka E. And then we also have R-E-E-T, R-E-E-T, and E-T-R. So you can see those different arrangements on your screen. Now, in finding the number of possible arrangements, so kanang T-R-E-E nga small letter ang E ang pinakalas, ug ang T-R-E-E nga ang third letter is the small letter. Actually, same thing ra na sila. Pareha nga naman. Kay same letter naman sila, letter E. Alright? So, here, in this case, if you're going to solve, counting the principle, using our counting principle, so ipon na to na tanan, T-R-E-E and T-R-E-E nga with small sa last o small sa third letter, count as one na siya, kay pareha raman. So if you're using the counting principle, ipon na to na sila tanan, 1, 2, 3, we can have 12 possible arrangements of the letters. Okay? So 12 kay same thing man naaman sila pareha nga letter E. But if you're going to use our technique here in solving the permutation for our this example is pila to ka letters ang TR 3, we have 4. That's T, R, and double E. Right? So we have 4. So basically, we could have 4 blanks. So that would be 4 kay 4 letters man ang word tree times 3 times 2 times 1. And 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24 times 1, and that is equal to 24. Now, since naatay duplication of letter E, pasabot, we have to divide it with the pila ka buok number ang nag-repeat. So, number, letter, di ay letter nga nag-repeat. So, since we have 2 E's there, so pasabot, we are going to divide this whole thing here by 2 gihapon. So, pila to kabog nag-repeat? 2. So, pasabot, that would be 2 times 1. 2 blanks, ha, kay duha man kabuok letter ang nagbalik-balik. So, 2 times 1 is equal to 2. So, therefore, the answer kaganina nga 24 will be divided by 2. And 24 divided by 2 is equal to 12. So, there are 12 possible arrangements from the word tree. Okay? So, mo lang ni ato ang technique. Kay kung ato gyud isulat sa tagsa, it would take time. Alright? So, I hope that we already illustrate what permutation is, and we also solve problems involving permutation. So, I hope everything there is clear. Alright, so dili na ta mag-break, Ma'am Gay. Learners, this is our last attendance marker. So, please, you can see it on the top of your screen. Okay, so before we end, we would like to thank, of course, our executive producer, Sir Gasser Sepe. Thank you so much, sir. And who else, Ma'am Gay?
And of course, our technical team. We have here Sir Saavedra, Sir Julio, and Sir...
Yeah, the very active technical team. All right, and we also like to thank the learners, our viewers, the 200 viewers for this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much sa pagtangkilik. All right, so see you on our next live. This has been Elvin Weba
and Ma'am Gay.
This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Bye!